Hello, everyone. I'm Kawanda Green. Thank you so much for joining us. It is unfortunate that less attention is now being given to equally important medical conditions like hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, liver disease, addiction, depression, and even kidney disease. Today, we have a 35-year veteran, a registered nurse at Emory University in Midtown. She's also an adjunct professor at the University of West Georgia and clinical instructor for second-year nursing students. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Rosalind Browder to the show.
Hello.
Hi, Ms. Browder. How are you?
I'm doing well and happy to be here.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Ms. Browder, you're the unit director of hemodialysis and hemopheresis at Emory. Can you explain what those are?
Okay, hemodialysis is it replaces your kidney function. It is for anyone who has suffered renal failure. That's mainly the majority of the patients that are on dialysis. 95% of the patients on dialysis are African Americans, and that's what dialysis is. For hemopheresis is it's a blood exchange for we treat sickle cell patients. We have the highest rate of adult sickle cell patients where we transfuse, we remove their blood and replace it with new blood cells because of the sickling of their cells. We also treat neurological patients that have like maybe MS or myasthenia gravis. We replace their plasma. We remove their old plasma and put in new plasma. And that has really developed during the pandemic because we're doing hemopheresis on a lot of corona patients, on COVID patients that we call them.
How do you do that? I've never heard of that. How do you do that? How does that
The
work?
hemo, the hemopheresis or the dialysis?
Yes, ma'am. No, the
Okay,
hemopheresis.
the hemopheresis, it's done off of the same concept of dialysis where you need a blood access to be able to remove red for the sickle cell patients. We remove the red blood cells because the red blood cells for sickle cell are the cells that are affected and they take on the sickling shape. So we remove those cells and infuse new red blood cells to them, and that covers them for anywhere from 30 to 45 days. So these patients come in as outpatients every 30 to 45 days to get transfusions. With the plasma is the liquid part of your blood. We remove the plasma and we infuse new plasma, and that affects your immune system a lot. And a lot of times with patients that have different autoimmune diseases, the doctors have found out that by putting in new plasma, fresh plasma, it helps to combat their crisis when they go into crisis with their disease.
Okay. All right. You're the director of the the dialysis
Dial,
center. So-
yes.
Right. So people get dialysis when they have kidney failure. What are the signs of kidney problems? What should people be looking for?
Okay. The two major causes of renal failure is hypertension, that's high blood pressure, and diabetes, and that's like high blood sugar. When those two things, you can have hypertension and you can have diabetes, and if it's in control, a lot of these people never have to see the inside of a dialysis unit. But it's every time your blood sugar is out of control and every time your blood pressure is out of control, you are damaging blood vessels that affect the kidneys. And like I said, the majority of our patients, they are on dialysis because of high blood pressure or diabetes. There is a select group that was born maybe with a kidney defect or maybe because of a medication that they were on for a long period of time caused them to have renal failure, but 95% or better is due to those two common conditions that we suffer with.
The ones that suffer because of the medication, is it because the medication wasn't filtering through their kidneys properly or enough?
There's certain medications that we call nephrotoxic medications and ototoxic medications, and they're usually antibiotics. And what it does is, after you've been on it for a long period of time, it attacks, like the ototoxic is ears, hearing. So long-term use of certain antibiotics and not stopping that antibiotic and changing it up can cause a deafness. Long-term uses of certain antibiotics can affect the kidneys, and it just attacks that organ and deteriorates that organ, and people will go into renal failure.
So, what can they do if they are taking medications? What can they do to protect their kidneys?
And really, it's on them to find out the side effects of any, and it's mainly antibiotics. And usually people shouldn't be on antibiotics for like longer periods of time. After 3 weeks of antibiotics, it should be a rest. Blood should be drawn to see what their levels are, to see if they could go back on that. So basically, it's just monitoring and knowing what you're on and knowing the side effects of what you're on, but staying on top of that and reminding the doctor, okay, I've been on this for going into 2 weeks now. Do we need to do some lab tests to see what my blood levels are to make sure I'm not becoming toxic with this medication?
That's good that you say that because people need to start speaking up, and I'm
Yes.
sure people aren't thinking about that. That's awesome. So let's say people are feeling some pain in their body and they're not sure if it could be their kidneys. What would the kidney pain feel like?
Usually, kidney pain is like back lower pain because your kidneys are located in the flank of your back, and that's the lower part of your back, right above your buttocks area. That's where they would feel pain at. The thing with kidney failure related to hypertension, they call it the silent killer because so many people go day to day and never think about, well, I'm gonna stop at this machine and have my blood pressure taken. And they just go day to day. They don't go to regular doctor's appointments. By the time they go in to see the doctor, there's several stages of renal failure. You can go from 1 to 5. Once you get to 5, your kidneys have totally failed and you're going on the dialysis machine. But you can combat that in stage 1, 2, and 3 by making sure that your pressure is checked on a regular basis, even monthly, just having your blood pressure checked. If the numbers are a little out of whack, talking to your doctor about it and finding out, what can I do before I have to go on medication? Well, we could put down our salt shaker. We could eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, stay away from the fried. And I'm not saying never have that because I need a piece of fried chicken every once in a while too. It's like it's moderations. It's what you do in moderations and how you prepare your food. And our biggest culprit is that little salt shaker, just over seasoning our food. And that's what usually gets people. And usually they don't even realize that they have high blood pressure until, like I said, it's in the latter stages because we as a people, we go day to day and we're grinding. We have a headache and we put it off to everybody was just, on your nerves that day instead of saying, why do I have a headache every morning that I wake up? I need to do something about this. The first thing, if you're having constant headaches, have somebody check your blood pressure.
Mhm.
That's a telltale sign. If you're having a lot of headaches, especially in the mornings, that's a telltale sign. If you feel like you're stressed constantly, where you want to scream, have your blood pressure checked. And that's usually where they detect this person's under a lot of undue stress, or they're not eating properly, let's try to work from, let's do a little meditation, let's go walking in the park, let's put down the salt shaker, and it can combat going to that fifth stage of renal failure.
And you say they should check their blood pressure, or we all should check our blood pressure monthly, once a month,
Yeah,
at least
I would
once a
check.
month.
If you don't have any blood pressure problems at all, and you check it and it's in within a normal range, um, you and the machines will tell you the normal range to the alert ranges. Um, once a month is fine. If you see that you're a little bit elevated, I do it on a weekly basis, and I keep track of it. Just take a little notebook and just keep track of it. And when you see that it's a constant, above that 120, in the 130s or 140s, that top number, contacting your doctor right away and letting them know, I've been monitoring my blood pressure. I really think I need to come in and see, so that they can actually draw blood and see exactly what's going on with you, and not waiting until um, your stroke. Another leading causes of stroke is high blood pressure. Heart disease leads from high blood pressure because it's your
That's what I
vessels.
was, yes, ma'am. That's what I was saying at the beginning of the show, that, we're so focused on the virus that we're neglecting, equally important medical conditions, because these things are very important and they can affect you and they can kill you if you're not taking care of it.
Right, and you're right. Everybody is focused on the virus. So by the time somebody that does not have the virus come into the hospital, we're seeing sicker and sicker patients, and they don't even have the virus. Because they have not tended to their self on a regular basis and now they're doing telehealth, medicine, but there's still, you can go to the pharmacy, you can go to grocery stores. They have the machines there where you can take your pressure, do a teleconference with your doctor to tell them exactly what the readings are, and they could go from there. But we have really neglected that because a lot of the offices kind of shut down.
Mhm. Miss Browder, can your kidneys fix themselves?
You can cover from renal failure if it's caught early enough. I am a living witness of that.
Mm.
I'm not saying, I'm 65 years old right now. At the age of 19, I went into renal failure, but they
Wow,
caught it
really?
early enough where I was on dialysis just a couple of times. They caught it early enough where they were able to treat me, via medication and everything, and my kidneys did turn around.
Wow. What caused yours? You were very
I
young.
Yes, I was diagnosed with lupus, and because of the
Oh.
medications that they had me on, it one of the
Mm.
side effects was renal killing your kidneys, and that's what it started to work on my kidneys. The high doses of steroids that they had me on,
Okay.
and but again, I was really blessed to have a doctor that was very on top of things, very personable, and stayed on top of everything. As soon as they saw my numbers starting to creep up, they did dialysis, but they pulled me off of the medication, and they were able to turn everything around. But there's
Awesome.
steroids will affect your blood sugar, it will affect your blood pressure, and it can lead to kidney failure with high doses of steroids.
Wow. You know, Ms. Router, at the height of the pandemic, you opened a 6-bed ICU to treat the COVID dialysis patients. How did that happen? How did that happen?
What happened was because of with the virus, people that have other comorbidities like hypertension, diabetes, on renal failure, they would contract the virus and they were sicker. A lot of our dialysis patients became very sick where they had to come into the hospital. Uh, my my uh, my unit right now it's a 16 bed unit, but again, you can't mix a patient that has a virus with a patient that doesn't have the virus. So, and we only have one isolation room. So we needed to be able to do up to anywhere from 18 to 20 patients a day, not the regular patients, but just COVID patients. So what we started off doing that was really burning the nurses out, the nurses had to literally go to the patient's room, put on full PPE, and that's gown, glove. They had head coverings, and they had the N95 mask, is very hard to breathe in after a certain period of time. And they had to sit actually in the patient's room to dialyze them because they have to monitor the machine. Well, we had a
Oh,
closed down ICU that they were not treating patients in, and we were able to open up that ICU and open up 6 beds and take portable machines there. Well, the ICU rooms are all in glass, so they
okay.
could go in, put their patients on, and come outside the room and be able to monitor the patients that way. Because again, um, with the size of our machines and the heat that it lets off, and then you're in full PPE, it's very very taxing. Where it's hard to breathe after a certain period of time, and then you're just overheating. And usually these dialysis treatments last anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. They're on the machine that long.
And there has to be a nurse in there the whole time.
There has to be a nurse monitoring those patients at all times, because at any given time they have more than, and I'm trying to equate it to, they have more than, if you think of a 2 liter soda, think
Mhm.
of three of those of blood outside their body at any given time when they're on the machine, because it has to come
Mhm.
out and go through the tubing and then go back through the filter and then go back into the patient. So basically, what dialysis is it removes the blood outside of the body, it goes through a filter, and then it goes back, and then it goes back into the patient cleanse. And it's just really, if you think about osmosis and diffusion, it pulls out the impurities, because every day you drink, you go to the restroom, you drink, you go to the restroom with no kidney function. You're not cleansing your system of any impurities that you're taking in, and any bright byproducts that after you eat, what it breaks down to. That's what your kidneys are, your biggest filtering system for your blood system, and we have to do that. So they have this done every other day, 3 times a week. So with that, the amount of patients that we had in, and the amount of nurses that we have, um, we ended up. I just thought of, we got a vacant ICU. How can we make this work where we could get our patients done, and the nurses not be taxed to the end, because we've seen a
Mhm.
lot of burnout in the last 13 months.
How did they keep their sanity? How are they able to escape and just unplug and
It's been very very difficult, and me as a unit director, like I said, I also do clinical rotations for the second year nursing students that we're trying to show them the new world. It's been very very taxing, where I have to it's like the pre-game. You know how the players are in the locker room and they're like pumping each other up because they're getting ready to go out on the field. Well, that's what I do in my car before I leave the garage, because I have to be the, hey there, how's everybody doing? What are we doing? I feed my staff a lot, out of my own pocket, like I'm going to do lunch for them tomorrow. So I bring in lunch usually twice a week. Well, 2 times a month. I bring in lunch. I'll do like ice cream social, just just encouraging things. I mean, they come, and I have the open door policy. If you're feeling like you're stressed, when you come in my office, it's Vegas. So whatever you say here, whatever happens here, if you need to scream, if you
Stays.
need to cry, that's okay. But again, it's just a leaning on each other. And then not only with the pandemic, we had a lot of nurses jump ship because of burnout,
Mhm.
or because of, you can go to an agency and make three times what you would make, on a regular job, because they don't pay you any benefits or anything. So we had nurses leave to take travel positions. So that left us really short, where me as a director, although I'm operations, I'm still a nurse. So I charge, I take patients, I do whatever I could to make sure everybody always got a break and always got their lunch and always got some time off the floor just to woosah. Regardless, I go out and, like, okay, who hasn't had a woosah? Okay, you need to go. I'll take your patients. Go have a 15-minute woosah, and then you can come back. So it's just kind of like everybody just kind of holding each other up, but I need to be the main cheerleader. I need to be the captain of the cheerleading team, so that, nobody will really get down and slide down that slippery slope. Um, but it's a challenge. I've lost three family members in the last year and a half, not even due to COVID, so unexpectedly. So still having to come in there, so that's down two siblings and down a nephew, but still trying to be the family's everybody, everything, and you have students now that have gone into nursing school and now seeing all of this, they're like, is this really what I want to do? And
Mhm.
trying to, let them, they have to make that decision for themselves, but just trying to be supportive of, they've invested, they're in their second year, they only have a year and a half more to go. And, it's like, do I want to work like this? So again, it's taken its toll on, all the way around.
Mhm. And like you said earlier, it's been 13 months. Do you feel like there's a little sense of normalcy coming back, or is it still pretty hectic?
It's still pretty hectic because what I keep telling people, it's not over. We have the vaccination. I'm fully vaccinated. I was diagnosed with COVID twice, and I didn't have any symptoms. So they just called me in my office and told me I needed to leave the hospital because I tested positive, because I
Mhm.
had all my staff tested, and but I didn't have any symptoms at all, so I was able to
Mhm.
work from home. um, but it's not over. We still need to be vigilant and wear masks, uh, hand sanitizer, washing your hands, makes sure you're socially distanced of somebody that's not living in the household with you, because if you're in the household with somebody and you guys haven't gotten sick together yet, you're probably safe. But it's that outside person that you don't know, that gets on the elevator with you, that you don't know where they've been, and still being vigilant not to crowd into an elevator, saying, "Oh, I'll take the
Mhm.
next." But people are really relaxing, but we're still seeing cases here. Sometimes I leave out, and there could be four cars lined up from funeral homes picking up bodies.
Mhm.
So again, we're still seeing it every day, and I don't think we'll ever see normal again.
So I
And
guess
that's
we're looking at a new normal. We're in the news and everywhere we talk about, deaths and people dying of the virus, and this all we hear is this negativity. Do you would you say, or do you have patients that have survived and now thriving, after
yeah.
contracting the virus?
Yeah, we have. I had a nurse that was very sick, that was on the vent for a while. That he did, recover. He came back to work. He did end up leaving only because of he had like his fear. He became very fearful of um, having to treat COVID patients, and I couldn't
Mhm.
exempt him from treating COVID patients, but we came to an agreement where it was best that he maybe go to another area, and he did so. But he's
Mhm.
striving. So um, we've had a couple of doctors and a couple of practitioners that were very, very sick and was housed in this
Mhm.
hospital, and now they're back. They I see the difference where they're hooded, they're masked. I mean, they're like to the nines, but they have antibodies. But it's
Right.
still in the back of their mind that they they could possibly contract it again. But yeah, I've
Mhm.
seen, and that's the joy when you see them, a patient being discharged after you dialyze them in the ICU for weeks on end, and you see them that they removed them off the vent. They and now they've gone to a regular room, and then you see where they're being discharged, and that's the joy. But it was a long, hard road, and a lot of hard work, and the care that those ICU nurses give these patients in the turning when they're on a vent. I mean, because that's what is going to keep their lungs from really going bad. They have to turn these patients every 2 hours, and just a lot of hard work went into saving these patients. But we are seeing patients, go home, and they don't talk about that on the news. They don't
No, they
talk
don't
about
talk about it.
Yeah, they
Right.
don't talk about the patients that we see go home, that we actually say goodbye to.
Right.
Um, and like I said, that's the joy. That's the
Mhm.
joy. So we in this storm, we do see like that little rainbow that's peeking through,
Mhm.
and when we see patients go home to their families.
Well, I want you to give us some encouraging words. But before you do that, is there anything that family and friends can do to help, their family and friends who's in the medical field can be more supportive? How can they be more supportive?
Just reaching out. I mean, I am so blessed that I have it was 8 of us, now it's 5 of us. No, now it's 6 of us. Two gone. But I have just a very loving, supportive family, and they're not all here in Atlanta. I mean, I talked to my nephew for an hour and a half this morning in driving to work, and then sitting in the parking lot because he just called his TT to see how she was doing. I have another little great niece and nephew. They call me every night. They're in Houston before they go to bed, just to
Oh,
say,
wow.
how was your day? We love
Mhm.
you. So again, just that constant, reaching out to your family members. If you cannot get together, our family has a monthly Zoom call. It's kind of a Zoom party
Mhm.
where everybody just dials in and everybody's just on. And I mean, it can last for hours, and you just drop off as you want. But it's just getting to see my family that's in Philadelphia, getting to see my family that's in Texas, getting to see my family that's in Nebraska. I mean, because we're kind of spread out and we're all over.
Mhm.
So doing something like a Zoom call, with your family, and everybody just logging in, and you're talking about old times, and just calling that person who works in the healthcare field and say, I was thinking about you today and just wanted to know how your day went. Is there anything I could do for you? Can I stop at the store
Mhm.
and get you a Sprite? Just little things like that, to
Mhm.
know that you're thought of makes a big difference. Makes a big, big difference.
That's awesome. I love where you're talking about the Zoom call because people don't think about that. You can do the Zoom. I mean, they do it for work. So that would be a great idea for family. Just to stay
Oh yeah, we do.
connected.
Yeah, and you actually could see everybody. My
Right.
niece had a
Right.
baby a couple of months ago, so we got to see the new baby. So
Mhm.
again, we really had a Zoom baby shower for her.
Oh, that's
So it was,
awesome.
yeah, it was really kind of we it was really kind of cool. Everybody sent their gifts and everything, and she actually opened them up while we were on Zoom, so everybody could see what she got. So it was really, it's not the touchy feely, but just seeing,
But it was
just
still
seeing
fun.
people's face, it seems fun. Like your face, and it's just beautiful. Just
Mhm.
because again, even when I do Sunday morning service, just seeing the praise team just gives me joy.
Mhm. So, what encouraging words would you like to leave us with today?
That I don't want people to give up hope. And hope. I got hope. I see your sign, but I don't want people to give up hope. Uh, Kind of disconnect from the news and social media at
Mhm.
times, and give
Mhm.
yourself, just like you give the kids a timeout, give yourself a timeout, and do a
Mhm.
day of no social media and no news, and just think about the positives, because there's so much that we could complain about. People were complaining about being isolated, but again, that should have been your time to really connect with your family. So again, just take these times and turn them into a positive any way that you can. And I thought this morning, I said, um, I never we didn't go into a shutdown because we're healthcare workers, so we came to work
Mhm.
every day. But people lost their jobs, but not once have in 13 months have I not been able to pay my mortgage ahead of time, and not be able to pay
Mhm.
all my bills, and do the things I wanted to do because of, the blessings of being in the profession that I'm in, that I love. But
Mhm.
it's really a blessing that I was able to be able to sustain where a lot of people fell off. But again, just look at, and you're around people every day, but then go back and look at the people that are not here. So just take
Mhm.
joy in knowing that, there are people that have gone on, but I'm still here for some
Mhm.
reason. So that's my words. Just keep hope, and unplug from TV and social media at least for 24 hours, one day a
Mhm.
week. Unplug and see how your detox, and see
Yeah,
how your
oh,
system.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And the way you're talking about being positive, that can be medicine in itself.
yeah.
So,
That's the
Miss
best
Browder,
medicine.
that is the best medicine. Love and gratefulness and positivity is the best medicine. All the other stuff is extra. But Miss
Yes.
Router, thank you so much for being with us today. You've given us so
Thank,
much great information. We appreciate you and all that you do so much.
thank you for having me. Just thank you for having me on.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you for joining us. Just as she said, be positive. Don't lose hope. Check on your family. Have some Zoom calls. Stay connected, but take care of yourself. Take your blood pressure once a month, but take care of yourself. And always remember, if you have health, you have hope. And if you have hope, you have everything. Don't lose hope. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.